Hi, and welcome to video part 2 of the 6th comic, where I will flat and light this comic. Hi, my name is Luis Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Senseless television show. I've been working on the show for over 25 years now, and I'm here to empower you. So this is fast becoming one of the most important parts of the process. This was a part that is both a little bit tedious when it comes to the flatting, but at the same time becomes extremely important when it comes to the lighting. And I'm still kind of working it out. At this point, things aren't quite going the way I wanted them to. Once I get to the coloring process, it's still not quite gelling. So I gotta kind of rethink a little bit about what I'm doing in this part of the process. So the goal here in this video you will see me do is I'm going to, besides flatting the drawing, I want to have a very clear, very distinct foreground element, middle ground element, and background element, and each one is getting a little bit of a tonal change. Maybe the foreground may be a little bit darker, and then the middle ground may be a little bit lighter, and then the background a little bit lighter still. But the thing is, it's not completely dogmatically absolute, that thing, because it could be that there could be a little bit of darkness in the back so that the character in the midground pops out. So I'll talk about it during the video, but you'll see it's really, really important to get this part right. So let me show you in the video. All right, so as always, this is by far the most tedious part of the process. This is the part of the process where you want an audiobook or a director's commentary on because it's really, really it's just not, it's pretty brainless. You just want to make sure that you've got all the pieces stuck. And even, look, I even skipped ahead. Like, I accidentally forgot to press record. So that's why suddenly it's like, boop, okay, now this is all colored. It's all flatted out. And here's the next part. Yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah, so this takes a few hours. The last video, I forgot. I think it was about, oh, man, I don't even remember how long it is. I should really start paying attention more to how long these things are taking me. But this is a long, tedious process, and every single little bit needs to be flatted out here. So, and it's all different colors again, just because I need to be able to distinguish and make sure that I've got all this stuff right. So here's where the real stuff happens. I'm drawing the light, the direction of the light's coming from the left, and a little bit, there's probably like a window behind the TV or beside the TV. It's actually behind the TV. At least are behind the TV, right? And so that means that if the light is coming from the left, then the shadows are going to be on his right. So I'm just drawing the shadows, making sure that the shadows I put in describe the forms of the character. And I realized that as I was doing this, that this needed texture. So the idea, of course, is once I put the texture, it kind of changes the values of the paper, quote unquote paper, that I'm using. So I needed to put that in there, and I kind of forgot to do that. But once I put the texture in there, it really does change a little bit of what I'm doing in the way that it's perceived. And again, just putting in the shadows in all the right spots in order to get the effect that I want to get. And because I switched the background out over and over, I just needed to make sure that this background was going to work really, really well, because it's going to be the same exact background for the rest of the comic strip. And again, I had the reference on the right, on the left-hand side, just to make sure that I kind of had some guide as to what I'm doing and why. And now I'm putting the highlight, the color of the light is going to be extremely white, like it's white light coming in from the left-hand side, so everything is getting affected by this light. So I'm kind of putting these highlights. The idea being that if I was to take away the line work, you would still see all the objects. And I think that's what is working right now. Like the background itself doesn't have any line work. Only the character has line work right now. And the rest of it is just being able to be seen just by the light. And so here's where I'm working. The idea was that the background was going to be the lightest area, and the middle ground was going to be the mid-tone, and the foreground is going to be the darkest. But in the background, you notice that I ended up having to darken the background almost as much as the foreground in order for Lou in the midground to pop out, and that was something that I didn't expect. It's something that actually happens in real life too, where and even in photography, where you kind of have to, on purpose, take away some of the light from certain parts of your environment in order to make things work. And even now, you could see me fighting this thing, struggling with this challenging notion of making sure that the background is really kind of working value-wise with the character in the midground. And so I'm kind of trying to take shortcuts using the same environment, right? But because I painted the effects and all the lighting and all the stuff on a completely different over a very different character, it meant that I had to adjust a lot of the lighting bits. You could kind of see it. It's a little technical, but each character had its own little things that I needed to adjust and fix and work out lighting wise, for it to all kind of feel like it's the same exact character and the exact same environment lit by the very exact same light. And I think in the end I kind of failed to do it, but close enough. I mean, it can't be perfect, but it was a really challenging little bit of lighting, and I'm going to need to work out a little bit more of this sort of thing. In the future, when I started coloring this, it was still not. It was tricky. So we'll get to the coloring next time. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye.